Propaganda I'm not falling for is that it's my responsibility as a woman to control the thoughts that a man has about me. I don't care how I'm dressed. I don't care where I am. I don't care who I'm talking to. What goes on in a man's brain is absolutely none of my business. If he decides to vocalize these thoughts and make it my business, I'm going to tell him about himself. I'm going to hold up a mirror to him and tell him what I think about him. Otherwise, I have absolutely no business worrying about what's going on in a man's brain and trying to shrink my existence and make myself practically invisible so that I'm not threatening to that man, so that he doesn't have weird thoughts about me. We know that there are a lot of weird, perverted things that men think about all day and night. And as a woman, there's already so much I gotta worry about just to maintain myself and not go absolutely insane that I simply do not have the space on my plate to add men's perception of me or their thoughts about me to that plate and then prioritize it on top of that. The patriarchy has convinced us that what men think about us is ultimately the most important thing. But the more work I do on myself and the more I learn to unconditionally love myself, the more I realize this is literally such a propaganda campaign to convince women to think that what men think about them is the most important thing. It's not the most important thing. You know why? Because men don't even think highly of themselves. They literally perceive a woman who has lost her virginity to a man as worthless. They judge women by their body count because they think that every time a man touches you, you lose value, meaning they see no value in men. They see no value in themselves. So why would I care about what someone who has no value in themselves is thinking about me? If men can't control where their eyes go, they can't control where their mind goes, they can't control how long they stare at you, it's not my fault and it's not my responsibility, and I simply don't have time to care about it. I was a child worrying about what grown-ass men think about me. Why do I as a child have to perceive myself through the eyes of a man, a grown man, and then protect myself from the thoughts that he might be having by dressing a certain way? That is absolutely insane propaganda, and I am no longer falling for it. Children should not have to worry at all about what a grown, creepy-ass dude is thinking about them. If he's thinking it, who cares? Like, literally, who cares if he's thinking it? If he acts on it or if he vocalizes it, that's the only time we should be worried. And at that point, call the police. But anything that's going on in his mind is literally none of my business. I would not want to spend a single second in the minds of any man. I like my own mind. I like the thoughts that I have. So why the hell should I abandon my mind, abandon my own sanity, abandon my positive mindset, and go live in a man's brain who thinks he's worthless, who doesn't even control his own thoughts, doesn't control what he looks like, has a shitty diet, doesn't like his appearance, and is still projecting all of his insecurities onto everyone else around him? I don't care about living in that mind. That's not my mind. So why should I have to protect myself from the thoughts of someone who is mentally ill? The patriarchy has convinced us that men are allowed to assign us a value based on their thoughts of us. But they don't even understand things for what they actually are. Like, you can explain something to a man for 15 minutes straight and he's still gonna perceive it the way he perceives it in his mind. Therefore, there's no changing a man's mind about you, so you should never care about what they perceive your dignity or your worth or your value to be. Because once again, they don't even have value in themselves. They don't even perceive any worthiness in themselves. Any worthiness or value that they assign to themselves comes from having access to women. The only thing that makes a man high value in the eyes of other men is how much access he has to women. So that should show you that if you remove women from the picture, a lot of these men have absolutely no value in themselves, which means they don't care about the quality of their thoughts. They don't care about having nasty, negative, perverted, disgusting thoughts because they correlate their value or their worthiness to how much access to women they have. I, as a woman, have spent way too long holding on to this internalized shame and this internalized misogyny that I judged myself and other women by because I was viewing myself through the brain of a man. I was perceiving my self-worth and my dignity through what a man would perceive as worthiness or as dignity. And as soon as I realized, wait, I can choose how I perceive myself. I can choose how valuable and how worthy I think I am. I can choose to abandon and reject their parameters for what makes a woman worthy and assign myself my own parameters, then I realized, oh, this has been a propaganda campaign the whole time. This has literally been a way to keep women trapped in the minds of men so that they never perceive themselves through their own eyes, through their own thoughts. And when you as a woman don't perceive yourself through your own thoughts, then you also don't perceive other women through your own thoughts as well. You perceive other women through the thoughts of men, through the eyes of men. And that makes you a hater, it makes you jealous, it makes you competitive, it makes you dangerous for other women to be around, it makes you a misogynist, it makes you a pick-me, it makes you basically the worst type of a woman ever. So yeah, I'm not going to be falling for, oh, you have to dress a certain way, you have to present yourself a certain way so men don't think this about you, because once again, men can't control their own thoughts, so why the hell would I care? And two, they don't even think that they're worthy, so why would I care what someone who doesn't think he's worthy is thinking of me?